Just love that. Hello, everybody. I don't know if everybody heard that, but I want to welcome everybody. It is Friday, September 2nd. We're in a new month. We're in the same year of 2022. Thank goodness for that. We didn't go anywhere. And it is Real Estate Talk, TGIF. Yes, this is episode 221, 218 weeks in a row. We've had nothing but greats on here. We've had new agents. We've had old agents. We've had top agents. We've had top coaches. We've had new coaches. We've had social media people, mindset people. And today we have another great. This is Suneet Agarwal. Suneet is the CEO and owner of Big Block Realty North and Best Sac Homes Group in Sacramento, California. Is that right, Suneet? Did I get that right?
Yeah, we got those two companies, also coaching, got property management, a couple other projects too.
Awesome.
But yeah.
So we're gonna go to our quick opening video, and then we'll be right back to really get into what we want to talk about, which is how to help agents. So here we go.
Real estate agent, are you looking to acquire clients consistently so you can grow your business and your income to live a great lifestyle? This is Dave Finale and the RE Skill Builder Podcast.
All right, here we are. There's a quick entry. We know we got to change that video because the colors are off, but that's okay. We're still going with it.
I like it, dude. I like it.
I can't be perfect, and you know what? We've got the blues, the reds, the blacks. Anyway. Really cool, Suneet. Thanks so much for being on, man. You and I recently met, but I've been watching you for a while because we have a lot of mutual acquaintances, mutual friends. I'm going to ask you one question before we get started, and that is, what does TGIF stand for?
Thank God it's Friday, right?
Yeah, well, you're really close. I want to tell you that you're really close, and I'm sorry to put you in with everybody else, but there's only a few people that get it correctly. It means, thank God it's finale. What else are we going to do about that? I mean, it just is what it is. I didn't do that on purpose. It just happened that way 218 weeks ago. Who knows? Anyway, so
I like it, Dave. I like it.
Awesome. So here we are, man. So, Suneet, you've got a very interesting past, as most people do. Talk to me about how you got started in the business, where you come from, where was everything going to be this great entrepreneur that you are today?
The origin story. It's a fun one. So grew up here north of Sacramento, town called Yuba City. Parents are professors, very educated family. Went off to college, went to several different schools. I graduated with a degree in business and IT, and then the market tanked. So I was doing like door-to-door sales. And ran into some friends I grew up with, and they got me into mortgage. So mortgage was like journey into sales and self-development and coaching. So I remember I was challenging, and within the first 3 months, my father, who was a self-development guy, had all the Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar stuff. He turned me on to some of those cassettes. I think they were CDs at this point. And I started listening to them, and instantly my sales started to take off. So as I went down this journey of learning and being a student, like, it impacted my business until the mortgage industry kind of tanked. I was top of the game, big dog in town, doing really well, like so many were. So I'm not special. I'm just saying it to give perspective. Figured it out, got into the medical cannabis industry here in California at the time. George Bush was still president. It was a complete different landscape. Went down that journey and made a lot of big steps and, made a lot of progress into legalization, and then got out of that, kind of just pulled myself out of that due to extenuating circumstances. And I kind of sat around, and I was confused, right? And I didn't know what I was going to do. I sat around for like 2 years, year and a half.
Wow. And what did you do for 2 years?
Well, I worked out twice a day, so I was ripped. So that was good. And at the time, I was into, like, I live on a ranch right now. We should be moving next week, but I've been living on this ranch since then. And I started doing weird shit, like I started breeding champion American bulldogs, right? I just kind of like, I took a break. And then one of my buddies said, hey, it was the guy who was my manager at the mortgage company I worked at. He was the owner and I was a manager, right? And he was a good mentor. He's like, hey, I got back into real estate and I made 400 grand this year. He's like, what the F are you doing sitting at your house? Your mom calls me every day. You're like 35, breeding dogs, and you've done all this good stuff in your life. Get off your butt. Right. So I went and worked with him at a local old school franchise. It was maybe, a really old school franchise. My first 9 months, or, to take it back a step, my first week, I started buying leads. Zillow leads.
You're buying leads.
My first weekend, I had like $200 and I'm buying leads. And then I did like 3 open houses a week. And my first 9 months in that year where I got started, 2014, I was rookie of the year for like the West Coast for Coldwell Banker. And I was, oh, wow, like I really did make some money and this is pretty stinking cool.
Right.
And then once again, like I got more into the learning phase and educating. And so I ended up leaving. And at that time, Keller Williams here in town was very progressive. I went there and I got into like groups like Lab Coat Agents. Tristan Ahumada was a mentor of mine.
Right.
Got really deep with lab coats early, made a lot of good friends and colleagues. Got into coaching with Michael Hellickson over at Club Wealth. Got the opportunity there to become a coach for the first time, but the whole time just learning. And then the growth just, I ended up traveling so much. And I've been an agent for 8 years. My 6th year being an agent, I was #1 in the 5th biggest economy in the whole damn world. Right. I think that's an accomplishment.
Absolutely.
Right. So, and I'm going to give credit to having mentors, being at the right masterminds and events, going to the right conferences, reading books, listening to podcasts, being a student, right? And not being closed-minded. So now we're here. I'm married with 2 kids now. I don't work out twice a day anymore, although I wish I did, especially as I got about 8 years older. And, we have top team in town, one of the top teams in the state, the great independent style brokerage, mortgage is about to pop off. We have property management. Coaching has become a huge opportunity. And it's just, I'm really sometimes I feel like it's hokey, Dave, because I'm really a product of all this stuff that they say that you should do.
You know what? I know what you mean about hokey. It's like you talk to people, and we have a lot of mutual friends. The names you mentioned, Tristan, Michael Hellickson, they've been on the broadcast.
Cool,
friends, right? So, we talk about the stuff that's hokey because it's like, okay, you got to say this, you got to do this. And it's like, holy shit, this stuff works. It's like, but see, here's the thing, right? I did a recent video on, hey, I got nothing to sell you. I got no shiny pennies except the one in the drawer, but I got this, and this I know works, and this is how it goes, right? So it's like that's kind of like my theme with, you become a student, as you said the other day, you became a student of real estate, right? You became a student. You work with coaches, and that's who you credited to because you said, well, I gotta get some help to do this. So when we talk about your coaching now, like you coach team leaders and broker owners, right? That's who
yes,
I
did. Yep.
We hit that. And so talk to me about methodologies and what is of interest to you when you first meet that team leader, that broker owner. What do you need to know about what they're doing so that you can help them? What are some of the first questions you're asking? What's the information you need?
I think like the important questions are really like, there's 3 basic questions is, what are you doing right now? And that means like, what's your staff look like? What's your lead sources look like? What's your agent count look like? What's the makeup of that? And how many homes you sold, and what do you want to do, right? And if we need to work on that process, maybe together, then that's some kind of journey there. But like I usually like, those are the questions I ask. But then most people want to achieve freedom through growth,
right?
So the core desire is the same for almost everybody that we meet. So how do we get there? And what's it look like? And what's realistic? And how do we get there?
Do you think does it look the same for everybody though?
Does what look the same?
Well, we know how we're going to get there. Where they want to go, right? It all has to do with building a business, right? Do you think it looks the same to everybody with their goal and where they want to go and what their vision
No.
is?
I mean, I think some people's aspirations are bigger than others,
Right.
right? Like, Dave, I want to rule the world,
Okay.
right?
Right.
Maybe not the
I
world.
think you will. So.
Sacramento, right? I just want to rule Sacramento, which we already got that one at the bag.
Got that one right.
But like, and other people just want more, weekends off with their kids, and that's their definition of freedom right now.
Okay, so
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. And I want to take what you just said about what you want and compare it to what somebody else is going to say, right? So you said, I want to rule the world, right?
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is a lot of people have these desires and these goals, and we know what a goal is. It's a hope and a dream, right? And they say it the same way you said it, but you accomplished it. You're accomplishing it. You're accomplishing it, and you're still, moving up. You have other things you want to do, right? But other people say the same thing, but you did it and they won't. What's the difference?
Maybe I'm just a better student, right? And I think, like, here's what happens. And I know that, you probably know this. You definitely know this and it can happen to anybody, is just like filling your mind with stuff and not like taking some kind of action on it. It's always action. I heard Chep say that. We were talking about some shit the other day, and it's just always action. You just got to go. Maybe risk assessment. Maybe the reason that I've done what I've done is because I'm bad at risk assessment. Dave, like, I don't know.
What do you mean? Explain that. Explain what you just said. Risk assessment.
Like, I'll just go for it.
Oh, okay. You don't measure the risk. You don't worry about the threats and anything else. You just go for it.
I just go for it.
Right. So in other words, other people are, let's say they're caught up in their head, right? Or, okay, so I look at it this way. And look, you know what? Truth be told, there's a lot of things I should have done that I didn't do in my career, right? And I'm finally realizing some things now. I mean, sometimes it takes us longer.
Sure.
I asked the question because it's important to understand the difference between regular people like you and me and regular people like the people that aren't achieving, or they're not achieving what they want, right? And some people just need, that one little trigger. They need that one little, maybe it's push, maybe it's accountability. I actually think it's accountability. I think it's two things. It's accountability and love. And as we know, accountability is the purest form of love.
Yeah.
Right? You've heard that before. I wonder where, right? So, so do you think that's what it is, that they don't let themselves be accountable? Because let's face it, man, no matter how long you and I are in this business, we're going to see the same type of people. I'll use the 80-20 rule. I mean, my goal, if I can have an impact and make it 79-21, I'll have achieved something, right?
Yeah, that's huge.
That's my goal, 79-21, right? And I'm going to go after it a different way. I can't go after it like everybody else is going after, because it ain't going to work.
Right. Yeah.
How do you?
Hasn't worked yet.
No, it hasn't. So what's the difference?
What's the difference?
What would be the difference?
I feel like so many people are looking for motivation instead of like really education, right? Like, you know what motivates me is the second I wake up, I pull up my checking account. Well, as I'm walking to the restroom, fumbling on my phone. Whoever says don't look at your phone till an hour after you're awake, that's Ed Milet, who I love, but I'm looking at that shit, one eye open, trying to see, right? That is my motivation.
Yeah. So, yeah. Unfortunately, I do look at my phone when I wake up, and it's to see if the Yankees won or lost. But that's just me, right? And they're doing a lot of losing lately. But anyway, that's beside the point. Let's get off that. So all right. So you're motivated.
So people are always trying to get motivated,
right?
There is a group of people who are always trying to get motivated. But I think really, like, you should really spend time on getting educated and learning shit and then doing shit. Like, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just
Yeah.
like this whole motivation thing. Like, I've been fortunate enough to get to be on many stages speaking. Like this year has been bananas. And we're only halfway through. We got 6-7 more gigs this year. So really fortunate. However, like when I'm on the stage, I'm never trying to motivate anybody. I'm giving tactical, like educational shit that they can do, whether they can start on, hopefully that day or next, something that they can do.
So, and why won't they do it?
Well, I don't know about that. I'm just saying that people think that they need to be motivated. Like, doesn't looking at your kids motivate you? Doesn't like looking at your business or your bank account or your gut or whatever, doesn't that motivate you enough? Like you got to listen to something else and spend that time getting motivated. I don't know. It's a rant I've been on lately, but
right. And looking at your bank account, looking at your kids, I like what I believe it was Brian Danny, who's going to be on a broadcast next week, talks about take your schedule and give it to your support mechanisms with your kids, give it to your wife, let them see your schedule, let them know what it is, and let them hold you accountable to your schedule. Right. So
bro, I mean, my schedule, I don't need anyone to hold me accountable to that. I run that shit as dialed.
It is. Well, yeah. Okay. So there's a lot of people that aren't, right?
Yeah.
There are people that they just don't seem to get it. Interruptions, distractions, as well as doubt. Right? Is there? You see. I'm sure you've seen hundreds and thousands of agents in your travels, right? Be it at your brokers, be it speaking events, and is it fear? Is it doubt? Is it? I know it's not motivation. I would certainly believe that it's a lack of preparation or having the confidence in that preparation. What do you think?
I think that you definitely hit the nail on the head. Is like, like the majority of the agents that are a big number of agents I don't feel know how to be prepared for situations, just at the level. And on my team, I beat the drum like, know your damn presentation like the back of your hand. I don't care if you don't like. I don't care what it is. I just want you to have a presentation that you know. Right? We use the Agent Academy one from Bill Pipes. We use the one that LaMacchia gave us in Crushing in Real Estate. We use the one Brian Curtis gives us. I don't care. Pick something, YouTube it, use one of these, just know something. Same with listing presentations, right? Be prepared. And the only way that you can be afraid to execute on something like that, which is really all an agent needs to be able to, well, in my world, that's all they need to be able to do is execute a presentation. We take care of everything else, but is execute a presentation. And if you have fear around doing that, you haven't put in your reps, right? Like you don't have enough practice. You haven't watched enough game film. You haven't, done enough role plays like that at the, surface level. But I think agents having fear, is it fear about everything else? Is it fear about the uncertainty?
Right. I think it's, I don't know. There are some people that no matter how much they know, they just don't do it. And I don't know if they just don't have, I mean, look, you talked about, you had $200 and you spent $200 on leads. And you also said, we talked earlier, and this is what your motivating factor, I believe you mentioned the other day, was if I didn't sell, I couldn't eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So you needed actually what you said was, truth be told, is if I didn't sell, I couldn't eat and drink. That's what you said.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's
I caught you on that one, right? So,
I couldn't get bottle service, and that was important to me at the time.
Hey, well, so as you said, your motivation is your bank account, but back then it was, eating and drinking and stuff, and now it's
it was still money, because money was freedom, and I wanted to be able to free to do whatever I want, right? And I still want to be able to do whatever I want, whether that is, well, I don't want to get bottle service anymore because that sounds like a headache, but
it does.
But if I want to be able to like never work a weekend like I haven't in like 3 years, like that's a level of freedom. Or if I want to take my family to Europe for a week and not have my business crumble, then that's the freedom, right?
Right.
Just, I guess my levels of freedom for my motivations have leveled up.
Exactly. So getting back to the original question I asked about broker owners and team leaders and asking them, what's the first question you ask them? They come to you as a broker owner or the new broker owner or a new team leader. What do they need to get started? What is a reason for them to start a team? What is a need for them to actually open their own brokerage franchise or not? What is there a need? Is there something they got to have as a prerequisite to doing that, opening that door?
So everyone I meet has already made that decision, right? To where it's not like I'm walking anybody, a solo agent, through building a team.
Right.
Although I just wrote it out like this week to where I could do that. But I can just give perspective on like why I did it, right? Like I did it because I had previous business experience in both cannabis and mortgage. And I liked, and I make a joke. I say, I'm the shopkeeper. I like having a shop, right? And I also, maybe I have a control thing where I want to be the boss. So that's important to me. And it's more fulfilling to me. And also at the core was, at the time, I thought this would afford me the most freedom because my wife, my girlfriend at the time, was pregnant with my first kid. And I was out like being a grinding, hustling agent nonstop. And I wanted freedom.
Right.
That was my desire right then. And that was the definition of it, is be able to be present when I had the kid. Then I decided to start a team, and it created the exact opposite. Now I work 3 times as much. So, but that's what my, core desire of freedom was at that time. And that's what the answer was, to start a team to get more freedom. I mean, I posted this on Instagram the other day. Someone said, you should start a team. And I said, no. I said, do you know what? I'm going to go ahead and start a team. I want some more leads anyways. So I was sitting at the end of a cubicle farm at a Keller Williams office. I got Commissions Inc. I had about 100 Zillow leads a month and Commissions Inc. So 500 PPC leads, whatever it was, maybe 200 PPC leads. And I stood up and said, at the end of the cube farm, I said, hey, I have leads in the CRM. I'm going to start a team. Who wants to be on it? And 4 people raised their hands. Maybe it was 5. And just like that team, I had a team. That's what happened, right? So then we had to figure the rest of it out.
Right. So, all right. So, okay. So let's talk about your path, right? So you were with CB, then you went to Keller Williams, and then you decided to do big block. Talk to me about that. Talk to me about the transition that you had to make, first to the team and now to big block and having your own team at big block.
Sure. So, Coldwell Banker, I would have ended up being more of a solo agent. Keller Williams, I went the team route early. And I remember having being worried whether or not my team, the person that ran the team at Keller Williams, I think that's called team leader, right?
Right. Yes.
The main person there, the team leader. I didn't know if they would be okay with me even starting a team, because I'd been an agent for a year and a half. Right. And I was like, hey, I'm going to start a team. And they said, okay, well, that's cool. Make sure you do this, this, and this. I was okay. Well, I'm probably not going to do any of those things. So I started a team, and just, I asked her after those people raised their hands. And then I just had some challenges with the way that, agents had challenges with some of the double fees that were around at that time. Being on a team, paying a split, being in a place with a big split, and all this, right? So there was financial challenges. So at that point, I had met the guys at Big Block. I wanted to open an office. In the meantime, that took a year. I went to another 100% shop here in town. It was the best deal. In fact, it's way cheaper than what I pay now that own my own shop. But it didn't give me, it's not always about money, right?
Right.
So we opened, and the journey was that I knew that the team would provide me the most freedom, whether it's financial freedom or time freedom. And I wanted to be able to grow the team unencumbered by anything else that could inhibit that growth, such as rules at a brokerage or, fees here or something. So I said, screw it. I'm just going to do my own shit with these guys. They have a good plan. I'm just going to run with it and open. So we opened, and then I also, part of wanting to run town, the real estate market here locally, was I said, I want to have a platform where any agent or team can work with me regardless of whether they see the value in the team or not. So I want to be able to offer amazing financials to people that don't want much from me, but still have the opportunity for us to work collaboratively.
So how did you set that up? What's the structure that worked for you as you built that as an idea? You have to give
right, like Big Block Realty North is 100% shop.
Okay.
So teams can work there, and the financials work really well. They work really well for teams. So I mean, I created it with the guys down south to make it work well for my team, right?
Right.
So it allows my team to flourish, and also allows us to collaboratively work with other people in a similar path.
Right. All right. So you've got the big block. You've got your team. Is there now? You also have your team. There's also other teams and other individuals working in big block with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. That's what I thought. So getting to the agent side and getting to newer agents and all that stuff and for team leaders as well. When you have agents, is there something that's really important for them to come in with, whether it's expectations, whether what they feel and how you can help agents build their business and how you can have team leaders and brokers build their business? Does it have a lot to do with expectations from them or from you?
Expectations. So I don't think anybody has a perfect picker, right? Like I've met agents who I thought would be beyond successful, and I've met agents who I thought would not be successful, and I've been wrong both times. Okay, so I'm really big on being able to provide an opportunity to anybody, literally anybody. I will lay out what our expectations are and what our standards, and I will lay out different options because I have them, right? By owning the brokerage as well. So I mean, like, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna shift gears here. We've been talking about the agent, the broker. We've been talking about the structure of businesses. I want to kick it over, if that's okay with you, to go into the market. Right?
Okay, cool.
We've got different markets going on. We've got changes happening. Right. And the way I look at it, honestly, Suneet, is that I've been through a couple of markets because I've been in the business a few years.
How long?
43.
Get out of here.
Owned my own brokerage for 21, property management, building development. Had a government gig for a couple of years in development review, learned a lot, made a lot of connections there. That's back in the early 80s. Right. So I've been around a couple of years. Right. Exactly. I know. I think the same thing. I first licensed in 1976 when I was 2. So.
Yeah, dude, I wasn't even born. So good shit.
Right. So 5 years ago, I walked away from my brokerage and been coaching and stuff. So I had a brokerage for 21 years. It was a major franchise. I took advantage of the corporate office being 30 minutes from my office. I took advantage of that. I mean, I couldn't believe that people wouldn't do that, and they didn't even know the name of the president of the company. I don't get that shit. I don't understand that. It's like you've got a brand new car, you're going to drive it, right? Because that's how you're going to get to and from places. It's the same thing with a franchise. It's the same thing with your office. You provide certain things, whether it's your knowledge or whatever it is, and people don't use it, and I don't understand that. And honestly, main reason why I got out of my brokerage business, because you know what? No one was driving the car. No one wanted to do the work. So I decided the best way for me to get involved mostly was to work with people that actually wanted to work. And when I talk about, the 80-20 changing it to 79-21, I can make a difference there. So that's my objective and that's my goal.
Dude, that's so cool.
and I'm putting my commitments behind it now. I get it more today than I ever did. I think I've learned so much more in the past 3 years than I have in the previous 23, 24.
Wow, fascinating.
You know? So, I mean, I'm very fortunate. I'm learning from you. I'm learning from Michael Hellickson, the names we've already used, Jon Cheplak, Dan Beer, Tom Ferry, Haas Pratt. I can go on and on for all people that I've met through this medium right here. And the point is that there's more and more people that we can help. It's just they have to be open to help. And those are the people that I'm looking for, the ones that really, really want to do the work. And I asked you about motivation. I asked you about fear. I asked you about doubt. Most people doubt themselves. Honestly.
Absolutely.
They doubt themselves. They don't understand that they can do whatever the fuck they want to do. They just have to get off their ass and do it because it's been acceptable for them for so many years to not do it. And the biggest thing that we had mistakes with over the years was our parents, and I'm guilty of it too, telling your kids, you can be whatever you want. You can be whatever you want. And believe me, I am not one that says that, it does matter if you win or lose. And it is how you play the game. And I don't want you getting a trophy for just showing up because that's bullshit. But that's me, right? And I didn't mean to go on with this little.
I like it, dude. I like it.
But the thing is that, people say, well, I didn't get to my schedule today, or I couldn't make any calls, or I didn't make any calls. And the thing is, I said, well, look, you got your goal in front of you. What stopped you? It's like, okay, so we've all learned these questions. We've heard this from the same guy. So what got in your way? All things being equal, will they get in your way tomorrow? What are you going to do so they don't get in your way tomorrow? And are you willing to recommit? That was just paraphrasing something you've already heard, right?
Yeah. Good job. Yeah.
So, I mean, I've been a student of his a long time.
Dude, love it.
But anyway, but you see, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, my goal for this broadcast for over 4 years has been to give value and give people maybe something from a different angle, like your angle, like Glenda Baker a couple of weeks ago, Anthony Lamacchia last week, a different angle. But the one thing that could never be replaced, Suneet, is passion. That's something that I think you really need to have. Your passion started with, okay, I can do this, being a business owner. You weren't going to fail. I don't think you were ever going to fail. If I knew you 10 years ago, I knew you wouldn't fail, right? If we went back in time. So, I mean, I've been going on. I'm lost where I am. I don't even know where I'm at right now.
Bring us a couple of dudes.
Yeah. Anyway,
rapping, bro. That's.
But what do you think about all that stuff I just said?
I love it. It's perfect, man. Absolutely. And I think that you hit it spot on. I mean, maybe. I mean, like, it's I think it's natural for people to have doubt. It's natural for people to have fear, anxiety. Like, I think I'm an anxious person sometimes. More as I get older. Is that what happens? I don't know. But and I think it just depends on how you get out of that, how you see your way out of those feelings. So when you,
I mean, I'm sure you've seen agents, team leaders, broker owners with those kinds of things. Is there a path you go to help them out of it, to be able to help their agents better? Is there a path that you can think of? What do you say? I mean, no motivation bank account. I get that. What's the other path? Is there another path?
A path for
a path to success, out of your fear, out of your doubt, out of the bullshit things getting in your way.
Yeah, like I think a lot of people, I think everybody experiences that as just like a factor of growth, right? Like people are afraid to make key hires because it costs a lot of money. And they also like having all the control, even if that means sacrificing a freedom, which is the core desire, right? Is maybe the control is the core desire. But like for me, I like to systematize as much as I can, and then I like to scale as much as I can. And it's okay for you to have. We're all humans. We all have doubts and fears about all kinds of shit, right? Some people have more doubts about more stuff. Some people can't even leave the damn house, right? But So all these things are natural for whatever psychological, Freudian, whatever chemical reasons, right? Like,
Exactly.
so I don't know. You just can't let it stop you. If that core desire is so important, like for me, it really is, and I like feel sick if I'm not working or thinking about something or have some kind of project, right? So it's yeah.
So, let's just let me ask another question that's a little different, right? So you don't feel right unless you're working. You don't feel right if you're not doing something. So the difficulty a lot of people have is turning it off and then turning it back on, because that's something I talk about a lot about with the agents I work with is, momentum. Excuse me,
Sure.
momentum, and get started and keep going, and then you're going to take a vacation, and hey, you know what? Go have vacation. Go spend time with your family. Do all that.
Hell yeah.
How? What is Suneet's way of turning off and then turning back on? It's probably easier because of a lot of things, just the way you've programmed yourself. But are you able to turn everything off?
Bro, I went to Europe for 2 weeks with my wife and didn't open my laptop one time. It was incredible. That was like 2 months ago, 3 months ago. Then we went to Hawaii like 2 weeks later. Then we went somewhere else a week later. Right. So the thing I have is an incredible staff, right? And incredible systems. Because I've, put in the work
Right.
in the first place and made the key hires, even though that is scary, right? Like I have a terrific executive management team, right? And they can handle a lot of shit, which allows me to run successful businesses and coach full time, right? So it's like, back to systems, organizations, all that.
Right. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. Great.
All
So,
good.
okay. So you're able to turn it off, and you don't have any trouble turning it back on because of how you've got everything set up, because you have the peace of mind that everything's going well.
I am in a place now where I do have that peace of mind.
Okay. And you've
Let's
got
just not let those guys listen to me say that, because I want them to stay on their toes. But I
Yeah,
do have that.
Yeah, you just got to hope they weren't watching this. So
Yeah.
So, but the
They don't want to hear me talk anymore anyways. Or I'll watch a Suneet podcast and listen to that asshole talk all day. Yeah, no.
That's right. That's right. So Suneet, tell me, what's next for you? What's your next goal? I mean, you're taking over Sacramento. You're out there coaching and helping people every day. Is there something else that motivates you to keep going and that next step?
Well, I just built a super expensive house, so that's motivating to keep working, right? I just not overextending myself, but I just spent a lot of money, so that's a motivating thing. But for me, like, we have mortgage, we have property management, coaching and speaking has just been like, I've done almost 800 coaching calls this year.
Wow,
dude, that's a lot.
That is
right?
a lot. That is a lot.
The gal that runs the office over for Cheplak, her name is Christy. She's like, man, you've done like 700 someone. I'm like, what? Like, what? So that's been cool. I'm gonna have nearly 20 speaking gigs this year, I think.
That's great.
17, 18, 20. So, and that's really cool for me. I used to want to be a rock star and play the guitar on stage. Now I just get to talk about.
You mean those guitars just aren't for show? That you actually know how to play them?
Well, they're actually all cardboard, but they look good. Yeah, no.
So yeah, I want to give a quick shout out to Christy Merrill as well. You just mentioned Christy, and great people. But anyway, look, man. So you know what? Question I have for you, really, I have a couple quick questions. First of all, I want to thank you so much for being on today. And what would you say if there was one thing you were going to say to team leaders or broker owners and agents to give them, like, your state of the market thing, the one thing, what would that be that people should do, listen to, work on? What would that one thing be if there wasn't one?
Wow, that's a lot. and actually that's what I'm talking about next week for Grant Wise's event is how top teams should prepare for a market shift. So I just made an hour-long presentation on it 2 days ago, or 70% done. But here's the thing for me is, you only lose if you quit. That's it.
Write that
You
down.
only lose if you quit. And I pulled that from Alex Hormozy on one of his podcasts, right?
Yep.
It is something that he told himself the whole time when he was coming up.
Yep.
I'm reading that book, his book, $100 Million Offers, like for the 4th time this week. So everybody, it's good to be on that kind of, have that kind of input in there.
Right.
But you only lose if you quit. And really, something else is like, continue to add to your own personal value without sounding, once again, hokey. Like I said, I've read that book like a couple times this week. I've listened to it a couple times this week. I'm doing courses and other stuff every day to add to my value to the market. I think I have like 5 coaches I'm paying right now, right? Because I'm just improving my skill set, makes me feel better because I feel smarter. I know more shit, which helps everybody around me, including my family, by being able to have more opportunities to make money. People I get to have the opportunity to coach, my agents, people listening to this, right? So, so those continue to do that.
So always be learning and upgrading. In other words,
always.
Right. So we're at the end. I got 2 more things for you, if that's okay. One is probably the most important question I will ask you today or discuss with you is, how can I, Dave Finale, help Suneet Agarwal grow his business? How can I help you grow your business?
Dude, I think this is great. This is help enough.
Great. Glad
putting this on and reaching out. We met each other at that Pipes event in Vegas.
Right.
And I was all, cool. All right, let's go. Yeah.
Awesome, man. And
thanks for reaching out like that. That was super cool, Dave. I really appreciate that.
Are you welcome? I'm so appreciative of you being here. I can't wait. I'm going to meet you in person next week. Again, I still meet you in person before. A lot of people, I'm so used to saying that because we don't meet people in person anymore, right? But I'm going to see you next week. I'm going to actually listen to that presentation. I'll be there.
Yeah, well, you got to tell me how, because it's a brand new one. Those first timers, like, gives me a little fear and doubt when I make a new one. But hey.
Okay, so I'll tell you right now, don't worry about it. Just don't screw up. That's all.
Yeah.
Anyway, man, I know you, when we met out there, you said, Dave, I'm going to be on your broadcast. Do I get a hat? Of course, man.
Yeah.
What would RE Skill Builder be without giving out hats for Real Estate Talk TGIF? So anyway, man,
love it.
Look, I want to thank you so much for coming on today. Stay on for a minute after we go off. I'm very appreciative of you. I'm grateful for you. Thank you so much. Everybody, the best way to get in touch with this young man is he's got his Instagram up there, and he's also got his website, thehustlingagent.com. So it's Suneet _Agarwal 916 for Instagram and thehustlingagent.com. Anything else you want to tell people, Suneet, before we rock?
No, I mean, really just, everything that we just shared about being a student, like that's really the relevant stuff. So work on yourself, work on your value, and good shit will happen.
All right, man. Hey, thanks so much. We've got Brian Danny going to talk about scheduling. We're going to talk about his business and how he's grown more than $100 million in business, being a part of a team, and how he sets his schedule, which is going to be really cool next week. Thanks so much, man. We'll see everybody next week, and all around, just check us all out. We're all on social. See you soon.